Wipe your tears, then I'll let you go. Want me to help you? No. In the middle of the beautiful scenery, in the middle of the day. Now these two male couples are sitting under a tree, enjoying the cool air, the breeze touching the bodies of both men. Are you cold? No. Mew exhaled, feeling sad because Gulf had been answering his questions briefly since earlier. Gulf didn't even turn his head towards him. Still angry? No. Gulf, look at me. No. Why not? You're angry, aren't you? No. Gulf, Gulf turned. What? He snapped angrily. Mew smiled faintly. Sorry. What are you apologizing for? Did you see your first life? Gulf was silent, his gaze lowered. Is that why you've been ignoring me like this? You only saw part of your past, not the whole thing. Are you still using me? Taking advantage of me? What I'm experiencing now, is this still a lie you made? Why are you taking advantage of me? What is your actual goal? Gulf said. Mew chuckled softly, suspecting me again. The atmosphere is too beautiful. It's not good if you... Gulf clicked his tongue. Never mind. It's useless. You won't want to tell me. Not like that. I really love you very much. But if you end up telling me to leave, I can't stop it. I'll leave. I won't bother you. But I really beg you, from the moment I leave, don't come back into my life. I'm tired. In the past I often complained like this, right? Mew smiled faintly. This is not the end of our story, babe. Don't jump to conclusions. I love you. If you trust me, then your first life won't be that bad. I've said it before. The key to your safety is only one. You fully trust me or you fall into those people. You know that you yourself choose to refuse to trust me. If you had trusted me at that time, maybe your first life wouldn't have been as bad as you see it. Dylan's body was thrown a few dozen meters when the vampire man punched his stomach as hard as he could. Dylan curled up. His body felt crushed, really very crushed. Even Dylan couldn't muster the strength to stand up straight again. Bastard, you want to kill me after I leak your plans. Does that mean what I said is true? Bring out. The vampire man stepped on Dylan's mouth. Not just 1 or 2 steps, but more than a dozen times. Dylan's mouth tore. One by one, Dylan's teeth fell to the floor of the room. Blood kept flowing from inside Dylan's mouth. Not satisfied enough, the vampire man took a hammer from the closet. The size of the hammer was really very large, the size of his arm to his palm. Squatting in front of Dylan, stepping on the blood splatters, reaching Dylan's chin, forcing his head up, the man spat in front of Dylan. Hurt? The man laughed contentedly. You underestimate my words? You think you can act as you please? Little slut, you should be grateful you could meet your parents. Instead, you meddle in my business. You betray me, and this is the consequence. How many times have I told you, don't try to meet him? He's mine. Once he's mine, no one dares to touch or look at him without my permission. The man slammed Dylan's head down hard. Fool, forgive me. All forgive me. The man chuckled with satisfaction at Dylan's plea. Soon after, the man lifted the hammer, which was still in his palm. He aimed it right above Dylan's head. Dylan whimpered, his eyes closed. The hammer blow hit Dylan's head right. Damn it, bastard. The third blow really injured Dylan's head. His scalp peeled off because of the blow of the hammer. Not only that, Dylan's head even looked flat. All the organs in Dylan's head were scattered on the skin. Below it, Dylan's face was really no longer visible. Covered by blood and skin around his face, The black clothes the man was wearing were completely covered in blood. Splashes not only on the man's clothes, but also on all the furniture in the room. The pungent smell was starting to get very strong in the room. The man grinned with satisfaction, laughing loudly, throwing the hammer in his grip anywhere. Now his goal shifted when he saw Dylan's broad chest. The man brought out his long claws. He stabbed Dylan's stomach right on the right side, taking Dylan's heart that was still in his stomach. In a lifeless state, the man managed to take Dylan's heart until Dylan's stomach was completely torn. The fishy smell was getting stronger. In a blink of an eye, the man suddenly disappeared from the room after taking Dylan's heart, leaving Dylan alone in a lifeless state. That incident happened after Dylan's return from Mew's residence. On the way, Dylan realized when someone was following him. Dylan sped up his car, looking for a busy road. Unfortunately, before that, Dylan suddenly smelled the vampire coming into his car. Dylan turned his head. At that moment, Dylan got a punch right in the face, until Dylan passed out and crashed his car into a small river near the bridge. When Dylan woke up, suddenly he was tied up with iron chains. Then the incident happened. The conclusion of what Dylan said. The death of Miss Annie. Gulf was once sold by Alexander. Met Prim, made Prim Gulf's lover. Prim's death. Gulf's meeting with Mew, giving birth to an offspring. The emergence of Gulf's feelings of love for Mew. Abandoning Gulf while Gulf was still pregnant. Meeting Mew again. Kevin's growth to adulthood. Gulf's move to Russia. Layden's presence under the guise of Kevin's friend. Even until now. It's all recorded in Mew's planned scenario. Starting from the death of Miss Annie in the previous chapter, it was explained that Miss Annie's death was not due to an accident, but rather a planned murder. The perpetrators of the murder were Miss Carla and also Miss Violetta, but behind it all, there is a main perpetrator that Dylan hasn't told yet. Perhaps it was because of Miss Carla's selfishness towards her husband, Alexander, as the reason for the murder. Miss Carla felt jealous when Alexander was intimate with Miss Annie. Then Miss Carla intended to kill Miss Annie by asking Miss Violetta for help. That has been explained in the previous chapter. Just look for it. Mew knew that his mother had killed a fox demon woman. At that time, Mew wasn't very close or open with Violetta. He didn't know why, but suddenly he had a desire to know who the woman killed by Violetta, his mother, was. A few days later, Mew found out the background of the fox demon woman. Annie, Miss Annie's full name. For family members, legal husband. Alexander is vampire. Legal wife. Annie is fox demon. First child, Kanawut is male vampire. Second child, Gulf Kanawut is male fox demon. These data also appear in a photo in Alexandra's legal family records. Mew took the photo of Miss Annie's second child. He stared intently at the photo showing Gulf's face. That was the first time Mew knew Gulf Kanawut. This is the reality. Mew was attracted to the man in the photo, to the point that Mew intended to buy Gulf. Willingly, Alexander sold his own child with the offer of increasing the vampire throne. But unfortunately, Gulf escaped the sale, thanks to the help of Alexandra's friend, named Lee. He's a fox demon who saved Gulf out of pity. Because the plan to buy Gulf failed, Mew wanted to play a little bit with the little boy, where in that game, Mew used his own younger sister. When Gulf was an adult, Mew deliberately arranged for Prim to meet Gulf. Until their first meeting, Gulf had fallen in love at first sight. Then suddenly they started dating, continuing until the story of Prim's death. The day of Prim's death was not real. It was only a hallucination that Mew successfully did to Gulf's empty mind. It wasn't really Prim, but only Gulf's hallucination, arranged by Mew as if Gulf had killed his sister. Then came the time when Mew could not wait to meet Gulf directly. The problem was Lee helping Gulf escape. Mew took advantage of the situation. He met Lee and threatened him. If Lee didn't obey Mew's orders, then Mew would kill Lee's child, named Saint, Gulf's close friend. Was Lee's relationship with Mew really very close? Of course not. Everything Mew explained to Kevin was not entirely true. Lee's relationship with Mew was not good at all. Lee had no choice but to obey Mew's orders. Mew asked Lee to help Gulf come into his world. That was Mew's wish granted. Afterwards came the problem where Alicia appeared. Just believe Dylan's words, where Mew deliberately planned it until he impregnated Gulf. Mew deliberately did that. Because Mew knew that he had also impregnated Alicia, Mew deliberately impregnated Gulf so as not to lose Gulf on the grounds that the child in Gulf's womb was also his own child. Continuing until Kevin's growth to adulthood and Mew's move to Russia. The reason Mew moved was because Mew knew that Lee was holding a war between his tribe and Lee's tribe to stake Gulf's safety and which side of the tribe he was on. Mew refused the offer, then Mew took Gulf to Russia, hiding in that country, where that country is believed to be where Lee wouldn't dare go. Now Layden's presence under the guise of Kevin's friend. Maybe Dylan meant Layden, who was actually Aliovic, is on Mew's side. It's not clear what they planned, but the point is, both of those father-son pairs have good intentions towards Gulf and Kevin. Aliovac's arrival at Mew's house to remind Mew to focus on his plans, instead of having pity on Gulf. The contents of the paper that Dylan gave to Gulf. The paper contained a photo of Violetta and Carla, scratching a knife right on Annie's right cheek. The second photo, their Mew is seen in the position of the two women, holding a blood-stained knife, and the two women were just standing silently far behind Mew. The third photo, the contents of the photo were really very disgusting, where the knife that was still in Mew's hand suddenly stabbed right above Carla's forehead. Blood splattered on Mew's face. Even Mew smiled faintly in that photo. Is it true that the main perpetrator of Miss Annie's murder was Mew? What was Mew's reason for doing that? Still in Gulf's room, Gulf's body was trembling, while Mew was standing stiffly. Are you really the one who killed my mother? Mew smiled slyly, staring blankly at Gulf's face. The smile showed as if it was true that he was the killer. Gulf's tears stopped instantly when Mew showed that smile on his face. Gulf's body trembled even more violently. His mouth was tightly closed, but his gaze was still fixed on Mew's eyelids, as if Mew had hypnotized him. Suddenly, the smile from Mew's face faded when he saw the trembling in Gulf's eyes. Gulf looked down. Slowly, the distance between him and Mew grew further as his legs stepped back. Gulf shook his head slowly. Bastard! Gulf shouted. Then Gulf ran towards Mew, roughly grabbing Mew's collar. Why did you kill my mother? What did she do wrong? Why? Why did it have to be my mother? Because of you she failed to show her dreams. Because of you she failed to see me grow up, and because of you she failed to see me have a partner. My life, why? Why did it have to be her that you killed? Gulf's tears fell on his smooth cheeks, letting those cheeks get wet. When his eyes kept locking with Mew's, the pain in his heart grew even stronger. Golf slowly released his grip on Mew's collar, shifting his gaze down, crying silently, trying not to make a sound, standing straight in front of Mew. That's what Golf did now. His heart felt tight. Mew took one step forward towards Golf, hugging Golf tightly. In that hug, Mew cried. He didn't know why, but his heart was really very broken. I'm sorry, Golf. I really regret it so much. Please don't leave me. I'll fix my mistake. I'll take responsibility. Golf pushed Mew's body hard, releasing him from his embrace. Are you still pretending? Pretending to cry in front of me? Do you think those tears can bring my mother back? Mew was speechless. Let me go. Please. If you feel even a little bit guilty towards me, please let me go. 5 minutes passed until finally Mew stepped forward towards Golf, kneeling in front of Golf's feet. Please, let me go. Don't bother me. Let me go. Please, stand up, Mew said. Golf was still silent, kneeling in front of Mew's feet while crying softly. Mew took a deep breath, then he roughly pulled Golf's arm, making Golf stand up. Wipe your tears, then I'll let you go. Immediately Golf looked up, staring in astonishment at Mew, still not believing Mew's words. Golf immediately wiped his tears. Then he shook off Mew's grip on his arm and ran out of his room to Kevin's room. A week passed. Since that night, Mew really let Golf go, taking Kevin on the run. Mew also returned to life as it was before he met Golf, often killing humans. The murder news was back on TV, consuming more and more drugs, getting drunk every night. This is not Mew's life before he met Golf. It was reported that since the day Golf left, Mew got back together with Alicia, living his normal life with his ex-wife. Meanwhile, Golf, on the night, he managed to escape with Kevin. Golf called Enyu's number, his older brother. Golf always remembered Enyu's phone number because Enyu had given him his phone number when Enyu visited Golf at the army. Enyu picked Golf up himself. Until Golf arrived in Thailand, Golf stayed at Enyu's house for a few weeks. The following week, Golf decided to live in his own world with Kevin, the Fox Demon world. But before that, Enyu asked Sang to accompany Golf when he was in the Fox Demon world, secreting Kevin's identity so as not to be a problem there. A few months passed. Golf returned to his normal life, but Golf never showed a smile to anyone other than Kevin, even during those months. Golf had no intention of finding a life partner. Golf tried to erase the memories of Mew, always thinking that from the beginning he had never met the vampire. Golf did not respond to some Fox Demon humans who were still bothering Golf's life. But luckily there were still some Fox Demon humans who were kind to him. Golf also didn't want to meet Mr. Lee. Golf was only focused on Kevin's future. There, Kevin was taught to train mentally and physically. Because there was no school like in the human world, both creatures lived their lives separately, trying to forget each other. This is the ending story of Vampire and Fox Demon. On the other hand, Mew really went overboard in the game he played. Playing someone's feelings? Is that really fun? Golf was not wrong. If I or the readers were in Golf's position, Lee too, deceived, taken advantage of, abandoned, would you also stay? Especially Mew's words were really not credible. But strangely, Mew didn't let Golf go. Defend? What for? If one of the couples is bound by compulsion, That's the end of the novel, The Love Story of the Vampire King with Fox Demon.